guys, so just a quick video because I pushed out a small update to NBP MonochromeLogic, and it has to do with toning. Now, toning a black and white image is not something obviously new. People have done it forever, never mind sepia toning, which used to be an actual chemical process, which is what created that tone. And then people do it, of course, as an aesthetic thing, and that's fine. There are so many different ways you could try to tone an image, and I recommend that you do. However, I decided to make a few key ones that I thought would be pretty useful, especially when you make something black and white and you want to do some subtle toning to it. So I made some tools. Now, before we go over those helper actions, let's create a look here, right? So let's look at MonochromeLogic. Let's see what we can do. How about brightness basic? Let's see what that does. That's extremely basic. Let's turn that off for the moment. How about darkness basic? I like darkness basic better. That's already a look. Now, me personally, I used to tone my black and white images. We're talking over 10, 12 years ago. And I thought it was cool and I was into it. And then I got away from it and I didn't like it anymore. However, people do it and people like to do it, and there's good reasons to do it. Don't get me wrong, especially, I mean, like in the graphic design sense, there could be reasons to do it. But for me, when I have a monochrome image, I like it to be just simply gray, right? However, toning has its use. So what I've done is I've created 3 sepia tone helper actions, first of all. Okay, so if I hit sepia light, let me explain what's going on, because I did a little bit of research on this and I have strong opinions on everything. So this sepia tone is not just arbitrary orange. What I did was I did a little bit of research on what can be interpreted as appropriate sepia in the modern space in terms of hue angle and things of that nature and saturation amounts and everything. And then I also discovered that with sepia tone, for the most part, it doesn't just cover the entire thing. I do have a version of the action that will cover the entire luminosity range in tone, but really it focuses on the midtones with slightly more neutral highlights, slightly more neutral shadows, but not completely neutral. That's kind of what it normally does. And on the light one, it adds a little pop of highlight to it, as you can see. And of course, that can be adjusted with the curves. That's pretty straightforward. So we also have sepia deep, which is similar. It's going to add, again, if you open it up, you'll see that it's adding the sepia tone. Again, the research that I did based on roughly what works. There's not one hue angle or one saturation, but you know, you get a basic range. And then I have blend if, blending it mostly into the mid-range, fading away into the highlights and into the shadows. That's really more how sepia should look. So if you're trying to do something sort of traditional sepia, that's what I've created here. I think it works pretty well, but obviously flexible. You can change it any way you want. So let's say if you run sepia full, that one actually covers the entire image without doing any type of blend if. So as you can see, it's a lot more intense. And because of that, I've added a vibrance layer on top that you can change the intensity of it if you feel you want to. Now, of course, on any of these, you know, when you're doing sepia, yeah, I did my whole idea of what I think sepia should be. So if you run sepia deep, and you like it, you can change the hue around. You don't have to. You make it redder. You can make it whatever. The idea is that it starts you with a quasi de facto standard of what sepia can be considered as. Now, that's pretty straightforward. Play with those if you like, especially if you're into doing vintage kind of looks. It's a good way to get started. Don't forget, you can hit sepia light, for example, and then you can do something else like grain noise light, and then shadow boost heavy. I don't know. We're just playing. We'll put that underneath. I actually put that in the folder, and that's fine. We'll just move it. See, you can just keep playing around with all of this. Change the opacity of that one. There you go. The helper actions are all there to take you from a simple black and white to something toned. Now, speaking of, I have a couple other tools down here. These 5 other ones, I think they're kind of fun. Okay, so the inverse split toning user color. When you tap that, you're going to be positioned with the idea, hey, pick a color, right? This is how you're going to pick mostly the first tone, right? Okay, and then so it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't look completely right yet, but hit OK, and the rest of the action now does the following. It'll set that color that you chose up to be the highlights via a luminosity mask that's been maximized using auto contrast. Then it'll invert that mask, and it'll do the shadows by inverting your color. You see this invert adjustment layer that just clipped down to invert that color, right? So let's do that again, just to kind of show you what I mean. Let's say I come back, inverse split toning. Let's say I want the highlights to be a very strong cyan. There we go. Now, if you look, you'll see that the reds, let's go ahead and tone those down a little bit. They're a little strong, and then make the entire thing, because it starts at 20%. Most of these start at a very low opacity, so you can increase it. You can see where things are, okay? And that's just a real fast way to, like I said, you choose a tone, a basic tone, I want my highlights to be pink, hit OK, and then it'll kind of blend it all in with a complementary color, and you can change how strong that is. So I'm going to change again the shadows down because the image is so shadow heavy. It just creates like a complementary color situation where it's invert, right? So it's the inverse of it. Now, by the way, as I want to mention again, if you go to sepia deep, the default, of course, is 100% because these are fully designed to be blended nicely, okay? But when you go to the toners, because of any color you can pick, for example, let's go to split toning, the next one, you got to pick the first color, okay? Which is your highlight, so I'm gonna pick like a blue, okay? Then you gotta pick your second color. In this case, I'm gonna make it like a deep purple. And then there we go. See that? And now we have to do the toning. It ties to blend it in, and the default of the entire folder starts at about 25% opacity. If you do it at 100, you can see what it does. 20% does that. This, again, the image is very shadow heavy. So because of that, it's going to create luminosity masks that are going to be favoring the shadow color. Okay. That can be changed in different ways. For example, let's say I turn off the mono darkness and I go to, let's go back to one of these. Let's say I go to brightness basic, right? And then on top of that, I'm going to say highlight medium. Okay. And I didn't do a whole lot. We're going to increase the range of that, which is why we can. There we go. Now, if I come down to split toning user colors, the first color, the blue again, let's say I choose that. Okay. And then the next one is going to be like this purple. It won't be quite as heavy onto the shadows because I intentionally changed that range. So, you know, it's a final layer to add some toning on top. Yes, it's still super strong because I chose a super strong color, but you can tone that down and you get some really, really cool kind of split toning there. See that the highlights are, you know, cyan, and then the shadows are that sort of purple color. Who knows what you can do there. Now we have shadow toning user color as well. This is a little bit more flexible. So you come in and pick whatever color you want. It kind of blends it in a little bit nicer using color blend mode, just like the other ones do. It has blend if set up. So you can always change that range. You can have more. You can have tighter into the shadows, into the deepest of shadows, and then make it really strong, as you can see. Let me double click just to kind of show you that. Back to, there we go. See that? Now blend if, we have that cyan in the deepest of shadows, creating some interesting toning. That's sort of fun. So you can do this manually, right? So you can go shadow toning. How about we do like a really muted purple? Cool. And then we'll go to midtones toning, and I'm going to make that like a yellow. And then I'm going to go to highlight toning, and I'm going to make that like a really bright cyan. And there we go. And now I've got, let me tone down that saturation actually. It's a little bit strong. There we go. And look at that cool toning that I've created for that image using a tri-tone situation, right? So maybe make the highlight 20, maybe make the midtones 40, maybe make the shadows 40. Look at that beautiful toning that I have. And I have the flexibility of blend if to change that any way I like. And don't forget too, once you have those colors up, a lot of your sort of finishing actions, your finalizer actions can still do lots of stuff. Like I said, please don't forget that. So you can come to crush shadows if you really want to crush them, either post color. Okay, so as you can see, that's post color, or put them underneath, and you can do a pre-color, which doesn't seem to be making too much of a difference here, and that's okay. So we'll put it on top of there, make it like a 50%. There we go. We have a little bit of a crushed shadow feel. Very vintagey. Let's go ahead and add maybe some grain noise medium. It's going to be hard to see that, of course, here on the video, but let that finish. There we go. See if we can zoom in for a minute so you can see how we've created from this to this, a toned sort of vintagey, diffuse kind of look just by choosing these helper actions. So again, it doesn't matter what black and white look you start with, even DSAT Luma, which is the most generic one, right? You can always come in here and choose, you know, split toning and then highlights. Let's go back here. Maybe make the highlights like a yellow, and we're going to make the shadows this cyan thing. And there we go. We have a beautiful sort of situation there, and I can adjust as needed. See that? Beautiful yellow and turquoise, right? Or cyanish thing, whatever. Take the whole thing down to like 30. Beautiful, beautiful kind of toning. Again, I can come back in here and just say, I don't know, let's do a grain noise medium. And let that finish. And then we're going to do a compression heavy. And there it is, compression heavy. Maybe we'll add a linear contrast. Put that here, or actually here. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful look. We went from DSAT Luma to some cool toning, right? And who knows what you can do with all the other the helper actions that come with it. So consider those. It's only 7 actions, but they're so flexible because you get to pick the color. That's why they're all user colors. The inverse one that does it automatically, it just picks the opposite. That's there to have fun in case you're not entirely sure and you're like, I'm going to choose a green highlight. I don't know. And then it's going to make the decision on the other colors. And there you go. I recommend going easy. That's the best advice I can give you. Super intense colors, for example, let's say I go to user colors, the split toning. Super intense colors are fun. Don't get me wrong, super fun, but they are either going to be blended in well, or they're going to be extremely strong and you're going to see banding. So play around with it. The actions are designed to make things as palatable as possible, make things look as smooth as possible, using blend modes, using opacity and blend diff, trying to blend things in. So experiment. Subtle is usually better, in my opinion, on toning, but every now and then we want crazy. Now, speaking of, as a final thing, if you guys want super, super intense toning options, we can do that too. That's something I can make. I've been playing around with a few of them. Like if you want some special effects kind of things, we can do that. There's all kinds of things that we can do when it comes to sort of colorizing a black and white. These are designed to be a little more subtle. These are designed to be a little more, I don't want to say what you'd expect necessarily, but they're designed to be just a little bit more chill and create subtle tones of some form. So if you guys want really intense ones, let me know. Let's just kind of make that one something like that. There we go. If you guys want super colorful, intense, high contrast ones, leave a comment below. But anyway, that's an update. It's been pushed out to MonochromeLogic customers. If you have MonochromeLogic, then you'll have these 7 new actions to help you out, hence helper actions. And if you haven't seen MonochromeLogic, check it out on our website. Any questions at all, leave a comment or drop me an email, mbp@ninobatista.com.